Less than 1.1% of death row inmates who are executed in the U.S. are women. Lois Nadin Smith, Oklahoma, December 2, 2001. Cindy Bailey, a 21-year-old ex-girlfriend of Smith's son, was killed in July 1982, and Smith was found guilty. Bailey was stabbed in the throat and shot 9 times. According to the authorities, Bailey was picked up by Smith and her son Greg the morning of the murder. Smith then confronted her regarding accusations that she had made death threats against her son. According to Lois Smith's counsel, she was intoxicated and doing drugs at the time and was just trying to protect her son. Last words: to the families, I want to say I'm sorry for the pain and loss I've caused you. I ask that you forgive me. You must forgive to be forgiven. Her last meal: barbecue ribs, onion rings, strawberry banana cake, and a cherry lemonade. Linda Lyon Block, Alabama, May 10, 2002. During a shootout with her common-law husband George Sibley, Sergeant Roger Motley of the Alabama Police Department was shot by Lyon outside of a Walmart. According to Sibley's story, Motley reached for his service handgun while he was attempting to explain to the police officer why he didn't require a driver's license. Then Sibley took his revolver from the car. After hiding behind his patrol car, Motley was shot by Sibley, according to witnesses. Lyon heard gunfire when she was using a payphone. Witnesses saw her crouching when she fired. She says she fired just as she stopped running towards Motley. She did not request a last meal, nor did she make a final statement. Eileen Wuornos, Florida, October 9, 2002. In 1992, the state of Florida passed a death sentence on Wuornos. In the end, she was given 5 more death sentences. In 7 separate events, Wuornos admitted to killing 7 men, all of whom she claimed had essayed her or had tried to do so while she was working as a prostitute. The narrative of Wuornos is told in the 2003 film Monster, starring Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci. She declined her last meal and asked for a cup of coffee instead. Her last words were, "Yes, I would just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus. June 6th, like the movie. Big mothership and all. I'll be back. I'll be back." Frances Newton, Texas, September 14, 2005. She was executed for the murders of her husband Adrian, 23 years old, her sons Alton, 7 years old, and Farah, 21-month-old, on April 7, 1987. The prosecution claimed that the killings were committed in order to cash in on a $100,000 life insurance policy. According to Newton, a substances dealer killed the 3 people. Adrian Newton, according to the Houston police, was a dealer who owed money to his supply. From the time of her initial questioning in 1987 until the time of her death in 2005, Newton insisted she was innocent. She made no final statement and did not have a last meal request. Teresa Lewis, Virginia, September 23, 2010. In an effort to collect life insurance proceeds, she killed her husband and stepson on October 30, 2002, and she was executed for the crime. 2 hired gunmen, Matthew Schellenberger and Rodney Fuller, who were both given life sentences for the murder, carried it out. At the time of her trial, Lewis was thought to be the brains behind the killings, but later research would reveal that because of her low IQ and dependence illness, the shooters may have been able to control her instead. Her last meal: 2 fried chicken breasts, sweet peas with butter, a Dr. Pepper, and apple pie for dessert. Her last words: "I just want Kathy to know that I love you, and I'm very sorry." Kathy Lewis Clifton, who came to witness her execution, was her stepdaughter. Kimberly McCarthy, Texas, June 26, 2013. She was executed for the 1997 slaying of her neighbor, a 71-year-old retired college professor. McCarthy's lawyers submitted requests to halt her execution on the grounds that the jury selection process was compromised by racism, and McCarthy's first attorney did not adequately defend her. Since the death penalty was reinstated in Texas, McCarthy was the 500th person to be put to death there. Her last words: "This is not a loss. This is a win. You know where I'm going. I'm going home to be with Jesus. Keep the faith. I love you all." By this point, Texas gave up serving special last meal requests to death row inmates so she was served the same meal that the rest of the unit had. Suzanne Baso, Texas, February 5, 2014. Baso was found guilty of killing her partner, a mentally disabled man, presumably for insurance money. Baso ate regular prison fare of baked chicken, fish, boiled eggs, carrots, green beans, and sliced bread before her execution, the same as what the other inmates had. When asked if she had the last statement, she replied to the prison warden, "No, sir." Lisa Coleman, Texas, September 17, 2014. Coleman was executed for starving to death the 9-year-old son of her partner. Marcella Williams, the mother of the victim and Coleman's co-defendant, entered a guilty plea in exchange for a life sentence. At her execution, Coleman smiled and nodded to several friends and an aunt who watched through a window, thanking them and expressing her love. She also said she loved the other women on Texas death row and urged them to keep their heads up. "I'm all right," she said. "Tell them I finished strong. God is good. Love you all." She was offered the same meal served to the rest of the unit: a fried pork chop, macaroni and cheese, carrots, green beans, navy beans, sliced bread, and pineapple orange cake with a choice of tea, punch, or water to drink. Kelly Gissendaner, Georgia, September 30, 2015. Gissendaner was put to death for organizing for her boyfriend to murder her husband. In exchange for giving a testimony against her, the boyfriend was given a life sentence. The children of Gissendaner begged for mercy on their behalf, claiming they had already forgiven her and didn't want to lose another parent. Several ex-offenders claimed that Gissendaner had given them hope and enabled them to change their lives. Pope Francis, a former Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court, and a former Deputy Director of the State Corrections Department all made clemency requests. At the time of the murder, Gissendaner was 28 and her husband was 30 years old. After her conviction and until her execution, Gissendaner was the only woman on death row in Georgia. Her last meal, cheese dip and chips, Texas fajitas nachos, and a diet frosted lemonade. Gissendaner cried, prayed, sang Amazing Grace, and said, "I love you, Sally, and I love you, Susan. You let my kids know I went out singing Amazing Grace. And tell the Gissendaner family I am so sorry. That amazing man lost his life because of me, and if I could take it back, if this would change it, I would have done it a long time ago. But it's not, and I just hope they can find peace. And I hope they find some happiness. God bless you." Lisa Montgomery, U.S. Federal Government, January 13, 2021. Following Montgomery's conviction for the kidnapping, murder, and theft of Bobby Joe Stinnett's unborn child, a jury in Kansas City, Missouri, recommended that she be executed on October 26, 2007. Montgomery claimed to be the mother of the infant and brought it with her to Kansas. On April 4, 2008, Montgomery was formally given the death penalty by a federal district court. She was added to the federal death row as the third woman. She did not have any last words and no special last meal. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye bye.